No.
Just says meeting is now streaming live on custom live stream. I just don't know that it's hooked to our YouTube channel right now.
No, you're
Well,
not on YouTube. When you click that custom live, it says
Oh,
you can watch it.
We got it.
Okay, we're good.
Yes.
Got it.
There you are. You're not live. There you go. Now you're live.
Custom live, it says, oh, watch it.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to start recording now.
Okay.
Look at, we're basically tech wizards.
There's like a 3-second delay.
Yeah, there'll be a delay. Okay.
All right. Well, I have nothing to say, Jamie. It's all yours.
So we already did the Pledge of Allegiance, and then we realized it wasn't streaming. So we did a little pause while we figured out the streaming. So welcome, everybody. Good evening. Glad to have you with us. Glad that everybody is here tonight to share a little bit about opening. Just want to point out a couple of things from the agenda. We need to make a couple adjustments from the agenda. We need to pull item number 2 and well, let's start with item number 2 from the consent agenda. We'll pull that from the agenda. And then item number 3 from consent agenda, specifically the item around the CARES Act in nursing services at St. Mary's. There was a court case that we don't know if we're allowed to share the CARES Act money with private schools within our boundaries right now. There's actually a court case that overturned that. So at this point, we're pulling it until that gets sorted out legally. It doesn't have anything to do with our school. It was something from downstate. But certainly, if when there's clarity around that, if we need to retroactively approve it, we can. But right now, we just need to pull that from the agenda. And then under personnel, Tracy Falke, her actual start date will be September 28th, not September 14th. And so a couple adjustments that came in late in the day, and I apologize for that. The only other thing I want to add, I certainly don't want to steal the thunder. We have a couple directors here and some building administrators here to share the opening. I don't want to steal their thunder. But what I do want to say that for the most part, it went fairly smoothly. People were incredibly compliant with our reopening expectations, with distancing and masks, so forth and so on. A lot of demonstration of patience. I just want to share that this will be a learning curve, and we'll be kind of monitoring and adjusting every single day and improving upon our practices every day. But one of the things that I didn't expect is how emotional it was to see staff and students back in the buildings. A couple times it kind of had a little lump in my throat just seeing them here. And I distinctly remember when I dropped my high schoolers off and kind of drove by the high school and saw the kids getting out of the bus, and then by the middle school, and the bus driver is kind of there and the students getting off. It hit me pretty hard that this has really been since March since we've all been back together in this format. And it really was tough. And I heard that sentiment from a lot of staff all day long. Spent a lot of time walking through the buildings, talking with staff, talking with our drivers in the bus loop. Stepped on a number of buses to ask them how it was going. And a lot of them just said they didn't expect it to be as emotional as it was. And it certainly was. And the last thing I want to share, again, this is pretty anecdotal and minor, because I know the principals and the directors will talk more specifically, but I always heard people just worried about reopening, and we're all wearing our masks. And, you know, it's hard to tell facial expression and things like that, but I can tell you with absolute certainty, you can tell when people are smiling in their face masks. I saw a lot of just giant smiles all day long, and the face masks did not cover that up. And so just that's our reality. But the reality is we're heading in the right direction. And so I know in a minute here, we're going to have all of our administrators and directors talk a bit about reopening from their perspective. But so far, so good. Take it one day at a time.
Thank you, Jamie. Let's see, Matt, are you introducing reports? Are you introducing folks, or does everybody know their order to start out in? I don't even see Matt. Jamie?
I'm here.
He's there. He's coming.
I'm here.
There you are.
Certainly I can introduce folks, and
Okay.
I can echo Jamie's sentiments too. Going around the buildings today and just seeing people was really fantastic. And even checking in with kids at the end of the day too. Just about every single one I talked to said they had a great day. So it's a real testament to our administrative team and our staff working together to make the best out of our new reality to start the school year. So tonight we have principals and a few of our directors here to give us more specifically just how the opening went from each one of their perspectives. As is traditional, we're going to start right at the primary elementary school, starting with the primary school and working our way up. And then we'll hear from Seth and Mike to talk about how transportation and operations went to open up school today. So Ms. Bonadonna, we're going to start off with you. I'll turn the floor over to you. Welcome, and how'd the day go?
Hi, everyone. Nice to see everyone again. I just want to thank some of the board members and all of district office for whatever role you may have played in helping us reopen, because I know that everybody has kind of taken on their special areas of expertise to get things going. So thank you very much. Overall, I think we really did have a pretty good day, relatively speaking. UPK and kindergarten began today on the same day as all of the other grades, which is different because they usually have a day later to begin, so that there are, less kids on the bus. But they did well with the transition and with the whole rest of the building. Our custodial staff and maintenance crews really did an awesome job. The building looked really it was just ready with all of the additional things that we needed. So Mike, thanks for that and for being so flexible. We had a lot of asks, last minute asks. The primary building has a lot of additional furniture that you might not have in some of the secondary buildings where, in order to fit the amount of kids in the rooms, we needed to move all of that stuff out to storage, and we don't have that storage in our building. So you can imagine, getting all of that to a different place was quite the task. Mike, thanks again. So not many faculty and staff were in the building this summer because ESY and summer reading program were all virtual. So the last few weeks of the summer, faculty and staff worked very hard at the last minute to have their rooms ready. Brian and Heidi and Lindsay and I we really tried to offer as many forums and FAQs for our staff that we could. We had a couple that were virtual and a couple that were hybrid and a couple that were whole staff, just to give teachers an opportunity to ask any questions that they had to make sure that they felt comfortable and ready. And I think that was very helpful for people. Jamie was talking about arrival and dismissal as I first came in. Arrival, I think, was okay. It was a little slower than usual, but for the first day, we still got all the students into the building within the window that we had anticipated, actually 8:58, and we were supposed to stop at 9. So not too bad there. Dismissal was, we were most worried about that, and it was very slow, and it was with a new app. It's called School Dismissal Manager. That was our first go at it, and we had a lot of help from Dan and district office to try to navigate our way through that. We ended up finishing up just before 4 o'clock, and we reflected for a good 20 minutes afterwards and talked through some things that we're going to do to tweak it. So I think we have a good plan for how we need to change things for this week. But, we really had some gracious parents. Jeannie, I know you talked about being gracious on the first day, and we had a couple people who were a little frustrated, but overall, I think people were under the impression that, they needed to bring their patients if they were going to wait in the car line, and they did. So we'll continue to work on that for sure. And Brian, I'm sure you'll talk a little bit about that as well on your side. So I popped into almost every classroom today, and the kids were happy. They, I kept talking about the smile in their eyes and how you could see that. And I showed all of them my new handshake or greeting, and it's a double wave and then a belly rub. So when they see me in the hallway, they're going to do their double wave and the belly rub instead of giving me a hug or a high five. So one last thing I wanted to mention before I just go over a couple numbers is that we had our isolation room was a little busy today, just with kids complaining of tummy aches and, small things where there was no fever and nothing really that we were concerned about. And we did have a couple of parents who were, pretty upset that their child had to go home because of the health regulations. So I just wanted to put that out there because some families are really concerned that they have to go to the doctors for, for a minor tummy ache, but we tried to explain all of our protocols and, I think that's going to be hard for some families to get used to. I know I got to be quick, so I'll wrap up in a minute here. So for numbers, as far as enrollment, currently we have about 5 open slots for our UPK program. We have 1 virtual section with 18 students in it, and we have 4 half-day sections. All of our offsites are filled, except for Happiness House has 2 open slots. For kindergarten, we have 3 virtual sections with 39 students. We had a lot of kindergarten families who ended up enrolling their kids, but then taking them out or just holding them back a year so that they can start kindergarten next year. So that's going to imply that next year's kindergarten class is going to be very large. This year it's pretty small. We're down, let's see, we're at 201 and last year we were at 237. So 3 virtual sections and 9 hybrid sections. For first grade, we have 4 virtual sections, which is our highest number, 4 virtual sections and 9 hybrid sections. And we're up 45 students in first grade this year. So for second grade, the last grade at the primary school, we have 3 virtual sections and 9 hybrid sections. And we're down 55 students in second grade this year. So total in the primary school, we're down about 52 students as far as overall enrollment. So that is all I have for you. Any questions about the primary school?
Thank you, Emily.
Thanks, Jeannie.
I guess I'll pick up for the elementary school. It's nice to see everyone's face on the screen, and it was a great day at the elementary school. There was a kid, every year there's always an interesting story, when we finally have students that come back after being out over the summer. And one student said to me, "Mr. Amesbury, do you know we were out almost an entire school year?" Which I looked at the math. We've been out almost 185 days of kids not being in person in school. So this student did the math and realized that's almost an entire school year, and he was right.
Cool.
That to me is why it just felt so good to have kids in the building today. Huge thanks to Mike McLean and the maintenance and custodial crew. I mean, the building looks absolutely amazing, and they have their processes and protocols down. The custodians in our building were cleaning and wiping and sanitizing all day today. And I know they were working so hard. So thanks to Mike and your crew. And like Emily mentioned, arrival and dismissal. Normally in the mornings and the afternoons on the first couple of days of school, I'm the guy on the bus loop, like, helping kids get them to their classroom and things like that. But today we had so many students arriving and dismissing from their parents and not the school bus that I really didn't spend hardly even a minute on the bus loop. And that seemed to go so well. And so kudos to Seth and your crew, because I feel like arrival and dismissal on the bus was it was seamless, so that worked out really well. And like Emily said, when I do talk about arrival and dismissal, everyone was just so patient and so kind, even the people that were waiting quite a while to pick up their kids at the end of the day. I think, we're going to work out a few of those kinks, and it's going to go smoother tomorrow, and every day it'll just get a little bit better. So I can share numbers. I know everyone loves to hear the statistics or the numbers as we head back. So at third grade, we have a total of 248 students. 92 of those are Cherry students. So 92 are in person today. 83 are our gray students. We have 8 sections at third grade. We have a total of 68 virtual students at third grade. We have 3 virtual sections. And if you're doing the math, it doesn't quite add up with what I shared with you. We have 5 students that are in a special class, so they'll come every single day. At fourth grade, Cherry students, we have 96 Cherry students, 87 gray students, 8 hybrid sections. Virtual students, we have 28 virtual students at fourth grade and 2 virtual sections. It's interesting, at fourth grade, that's our lowest number of virtual for whatever reason. At the other two grade levels, we're in the 60s, and at fourth grade, we're only at 28. And at fifth grade, we have 83 Cherry students, 86 Gray students, 8 hybrid sections, 62 virtual students, 3 virtual sections, and 4 students in special class. So that's the totals from the elementary school. At each grade level, we're down just a little bit from the years previously. It's right around 7 to 10 students at each of the grade levels that were down from the previous years. So that's it from the elementary school. And again, thanks to everybody that's listening and on the screen for just supporting getting back to school today. It was an awesome day having kids back in the building.
Thank
Thanks.
you, Brian.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having us again tonight. Today at the middle school went pretty well. I'm sorry to go after the primary and elementary because drop off was just fine. And like usual, we let them out at the end of the day and they went away. So it went just fine. It wasn't perfect, but honestly, we were pretty worried because, you know, drop off at the middle school, like in other buildings, can be difficult. It just wasn't. I guess 300 kids just makes it fine. So drop off went well, and pickup was a little slower because we have 2 grades on the main side of the building, but and not a lot of people use the lollipop for pickup. I don't know why. We're going to work on that. So the things that we were worried about, kids not wearing masks, the lunchroom, it was all remarkably just normal. Like we've done this before, and kids wore masks. You know, I remember thinking, there's no way these kids are going to wear a mask. They all wore a mask. They're used to it already, and they're probably more resilient than I am. So it was a pretty good day. I use the word tentative joy because there was kind of an undertone today of what's going to come next. Where's this coming from? But everybody was smiling. Yep, you can. Whoever said it, you can definitely see smiles right there in the corner of kids' eyes, and if you can also see smirks too. So as most of you know, I don't leave a kid until I get them to crack a smile. So I was using whatever I could, you know. I went just like the other 2 principals said. I think I made it in every class today. There were a couple I may not have made it into because they were virtual and I didn't jump into the virtual classes today. So I want to jump in to say credit to Mike and his crew. I literally don't know where all the desks went. You know, there's about 12 desks in every room right now. Normally there's 25. So you figure there's 90 classrooms, do some math. I don't know where they all went, Mike. The building is spotless and they moved all those desks. And here's the other problem. After they moved them all out, they had to move some back in and unbury them. So again, so much kudos to Mike and Walt and Ms. Bergstresser. They just were on top of stuff all and the crew too. Food service went great. Transportation, the buses went great. They came in, they went right into the auditorium. I would be remiss if I did not point out our counselors. 750 schedules changed after August 20th, so to speak. It took us about till August 20th to get the schedule in, and they worked a lot of long hours and weekends. So credit to the counselors at the middle school, and I'm sure everywhere else as well. I would like to say, and I'm going to shout out to Mr. Nolan, no lockers, no problem. I kind of like this no lockers thing because kids walk out of the rooms and they go to their next classroom. It was very smooth. So maybe there's something to this backpack thing. I will say it was the first day, so I know that's not going to work with boots and coats. One of the feelings in the building was and all of you have been talking about it, we got this. I would walk in and the teachers and the kids, it was like we never left. I know everybody knows we left, but there was we got this, you know, we know where we're going. One thing I do want to note though, it's clear that our 5th to 6th transition programs work because every 6th grader came in today with a fear face, and you can see fear with a mask on as well because none of them know where to go because we didn't have open house. We didn't do all of the stuff that we do. I will say they all got where they belonged, and by middle of advisory, which was 5 to 7 minutes, they were all good, in good hands. I think you all know our 6th grade teachers just, although they can't wrap their arms around them, they were wrapping their arms around them, and it was just fine after that. So they all got a tour today. They're going to get another tour tomorrow, and it went well. Yeah, it was. I did an inadequate survey. I went in all the classrooms and I asked, be honest, how many of you are at least a little bit glad to be back? And at least 80 to 85% of the kids, except 8th grade, it was a little lower because, you know, 8th graders are 8th graders. Let's not pretend that they're not the most surly. I think maybe some 9th graders can get in there too, but they're all happy to be back. And I expect the same thing on Thursday. I'll share some numbers, but as I kept adding them up and reworking them, none of them actually add up because there's a lot of human changing going on. So I'll just share a couple of things. Our 6th grade cherry group has 95 kids, or about 95 kids, because there are 3 different spreadsheets keeping track of this. Our gray group in 6th grade is 87. The students coming 4 days are 12. There's 12 of them. And there are 43 virtual students, which is around 250 kids. Cherry group, 101 in 7th grade. The gray group is 119. The 4-day students in 7th grade, there are only 4 of them. And then there are 61 virtual students in 6th grade, around 272 students. In 8th grade, the cherry group is 96. The gray group is 100. The virtual group is 55. There are 7 kids that are 4 days. And as I'm sure Mrs. McFarland will tell you, we have 6 8th graders at the CACC. So our total enrollment as of today in Infinite Campus is 765, which is down about 25 kids from last year. The one thing I want to brag about a little bit is we offered every class to every kid except 3 classes that we knew we weren't going to be able to offer. We don't have advanced topics in social studies. We don't have Science Quest, and we do not have knowledge class going on. We just didn't have the ability to offer those. So the virtual kids got Earth Science, they got algebra. The only thing, the virtual kids aren't doing band because you can't really do band. They are all going to get band lessons virtually, however. So they will get a performance music experience. So we're keeping that intact. And almost all the teachers, I didn't do the numbers. There are only about 20 teachers in my building that don't have virtual sections. And they are English, math, science, social studies teachers. Just about everybody else has a virtual section or virtual sections. And this year, Team Ontario is the 7th and 8th grade virtual team. So the 7th and 8th grade students are on a team virtually, and the 6th grade virtual students stayed on the team they were on for the most part. So all of the kids that are virtual are within a team, have a team leader, and have a team structure. So hopefully we're going to be able to support kids in that way. And I'm looking forward to tomorrow to see what tomorrow brings. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, John.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me, and I'm excited to share about what happened today at the Academy. My colleagues kind of stole my thunder, I'm just going to say, because today was a great day. We had a wonderful day here. I drove up in nice and early, first day for me, because it's exciting for me too. Pulled in, I'm like, I'm the only one here, I think. It was really early. I step out of my car and all I hear is music really loud. I'm like, oh, wow, there's people. So they had the music going, and the Link Crew kids had chalked up the sidewalks, and there were signs all over the building. So it felt really great coming in to have the students really welcoming everybody and coming in even that early in the morning. It was wonderful, but drop off was great. I came out about 7:12 and I found Seth. I said, Seth, they can let them off the bus. We're ready. And he said, I just want to make sure. I'm like, bring them on. So we brought them in and everybody came in and got where they needed to be. And you could just tell that the kids were happy to be back, happy to be in the building. And as many of my colleagues said already, that things that we were worrying about, the masks, the cafeteria, what are they going to do in the hallways, were really not issues. The students wore masks. The students did what we asked them to do. The students knew well ahead of time the protocols that we had in place, we've been communicating. So they did what we asked them to do because they want to be safe too. So that felt really great. It was wonderful for me to be able to interact too with the students. This was the first time where they kind of welcomed me. You know, I walked around in lunch and I got to chat with the kids and ask them how their day was going and how's their first day, how are their classes, how do they feel? And they talked with me and they interacted with me, and that felt good too, to just be able to have that interaction with the students that I haven't had to have a chance to do yet. So I'm excited to do that again tomorrow, but then get to know a whole nother group on Thursday as well. I do have to say thank you to many people, as everybody already has. I think I was texting Mike last night around 9:30. I was like, how do we turn on the bells at the academy? I got to make sure that happens, you know, these things. Or today I'm like, we need dirty rag bins, you know, and just these little things that keep popping up, but everybody's there for you and we're all pulling together. And yes, I know we got it. And the building was clean and great. And I echo John, I have no idea where all those desks went. Good point. Where are they? So that's a good point, but I'm thankful for that. The counselors who worked tremendous hours to change every kid's schedule to make it work, so that everybody could get what we could give them and have a new schedule and do that in a matter of a couple of weeks where normally we're working on it for months, was amazing. Just all the hands that were put in together to make that happen. I'm thankful to the rest of the admin team here who was out and about, and everybody was, you know, talking with kids and excited to see people here. I walked into classrooms. I went into Mr. Dermody's. He even had a science demo going where he was doing some chemical things and it exploded in this purple flame. Don't worry, everyone stayed 6 feet away and he had it in the hood. So I was safe, but it was exciting because kids were excited to do labs and see demonstrations and be in person and see all this happen in real time, which was really kind of cool. So I have just thankful to be here. I'm thankful, and today went great, and I can't wait for the rest of the year. I know it's a strange year, but I just feel like everybody's in this together, and we are working together. And I keep saying to my faculty this line of together, you can't stop us, which is true. And we're ready to tackle this year, and we're going to make it the best that can be for the students. So I have a few numbers to share with you too. We had, like I said, I already thanked the counselors one time, but once we put out all the schedule information, and then a whole bunch of people called and they wanted to change. So we were adjusting. And if you asked us 3 weeks ago about our numbers, they've changed quite a bit since then, but that's good. We're getting everybody what they need. For the 9th grade cohort, we have 14 students that are coming all 4 days. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. We have 112 Cherry 9th graders, 137 Gray, and 31 of the 9th graders are virtual. For the 10th grade cohort, we have 16 students that are coming 4 days, 109 Cherry cohort, 10th grade, 106 Gray cohort, and 58 virtual 10th grade students. That's kind of where our virtual bump is. That's where we have most of our students who are fully virtual in the 10th grade class. The 11th grade cohort, there are 14 students that are 4 days, 110 Cherry students, 99 Gray, and 32 virtual for the junior class. And for this year's senior class, there are 15 students that are coming 4 days a week, 115 Cherry students, 118 Gray, 35 virtual, and we've balanced them out, made them pretty even, and it's It's been great. So it's a good start, and we're going to keep going on this good path. And I'm excited to be here. And thank you to everybody.
Thank you, Melissa. Who's next?
That would be me. Thanks, everybody. I'm pretty excited to be here too and share our day with all of you. So I'm gonna, again, they probably can't get enough thanks anyway, and there's probably not going to be enough hours in the day to say thanks to Mike and his team. We made a lot of changes and a lot of adjustments and a lot of furniture moves and a lot of physical moves to prepare CACC for our students to be there 4 days a week. Our spaces are, we fit all of the students in as best we can. We're busting at the seams in some classes, but hopefully coming down the line and in the future, we'll be able to bring more students back even than what we have. So a huge thanks to Mike and his team. They've been over a few times with some other details that had nothing to do with our furniture. We've had a couple of plumbing issues and other things, but they've never said no to anything we've asked. So we really appreciate Mike and his team. The cleaners are amazing. The place looks amazing inside. And if you haven't been over there outside, the outside areas are really starting to shape up beautifully. So the building looks fantastic. There will never be enough thanks out to Seth and his team as well. In order for us to bring our kids 4 days a week. And then between that and between getting kids to BOCES and getting kids over, and a little wrench that we threw in this year, we're having our, in the past, 8th grade students have gone to the academy. That's so many different transitions for that group. It was anyway. So we had a big ask, and so I'll be thanking Marissa as well and her team to have them have Spanish first period at CACC. So that was a new thing for our students. It wasn't new to the 8th graders. They didn't know any different, but their families were super gracious and really, really grateful that we were able to do that because the bus has been a little bit of an anxiety point for our kids. So to start the day right at the CACC and in a place where all of our in-person students were able to come in, I did private open houses with them. So they were able to see their spot, know which room they were going to be in, get a little bit more prepared for what to expect. So they came in, things went pretty smoothly with all of our students getting off the buses or dropped off by parents. We didn't have a whole lot of congestion. We were a little worried about it, but Seth assured me, and he was correct, that we had them coming in at periodic times, so we were able to get everybody in the building and into their classrooms. So we're very much a little bit like the primary elementary in that we're very self-contained. So the students are remaining in their classrooms. And so I'll do the numbers piece right now. So right now in our smallest classroom, which is our English classroom, it's really, it's our tiniest classroom. We could fit the 9 students that we have, but we have 3 that are virtual. So we have 6 in there. We have a total of 6 9th graders as well, 7 10th graders in the building, 6 11th graders, and our 11th grade is also a little bit smaller, but we have to house all of our 11th graders because there's an overlap. So 11 and 12, we share that space in the middle. So 11th graders are in that middle space. So it's helpful because we can just about fit the 6 of them in the middle for their advisory, while the 12th grade has 10 students, 8 are in person. So it's a pretty jam-packed room in the morning. So that if you were counting and doing the math on that, I hope I'm right. We have 33 in person, 42 total students enrolled. But again, as we can enroll kids and as needed, we will be grateful. So a huge shout out to Todd too. Breakfast was delivered. We're still doing lunch deliveries. That went off without a hitch. And then really a huge thanks to Marissa and John and their teams of counselors for accommodating all of our virtual students. We wanted really badly, and we tried really hard to get as many of our virtual students to consider coming in live, because most of our students were so excited to be in person, and they are 4 days a week. And it was just really great to have all of them and sort of a family reunion for the students that were there in the past. Our 8th grade students were new to me. I had them as advisory, but so I was able to sort of interact with them. And then the other classrooms had advisories where they kind of had little mini family reunions. So it was nice to see, and it was nice, and it was really helpful. I need also to thank Heather Pollack for showing me the ropes, figuring out how to get things in and out, schedule, and the like. And really appreciate our shared staff, Krista Coleman, I said before, Lisa Bellis, who is our TA, who's working on our work study with our work study students, and then Eric Mullen at the end of the day from primary elementary for our PE and health. So really, again, echo everything. It was all about relationships. We're going to continue to be all about relationships. Kids were thrilled to be there. Staff was thrilled to have them there. There were many mask breaks and walks around the pond. So we are fortunate enough to have our location in a place where it's so beautiful. So the kids went out as often as they could to get some fresh air. And thank you to this group for putting your trust in me to take over the helm over at CACC. So I'm looking forward to a great year.
Thank you, Katie. That's
So-
our mic. Mike.
For me, every year, this is kind of a strange meeting because by this time, my work is all done. And I sit and watch everybody run around and do what they need to do for kids during the day. And I have to stress how lucky it is to be in Canandaigua with everybody. Just all the collaboration, everybody working together. It really is fantastic. I really appreciate all of you, all the teachers, to work around everybody. It really is fantastic. And to go through something like we're going through and just to have that commitment from everybody and to have everybody together, it's amazing to see that. I do know that this meeting every year is about numbers. And my guys about flipped out on me when we started dumping a dump truck load of stone, and I wanted to count every stone that we had in that dump truck and plan to do that all summer. I didn't get away with that. And it just was a great day today to see everybody back and really appreciate everybody. Thanks.
Mike, where are the desks? Seems to be
well-
a big question of the night, or is that a secret?
You know, I have to be careful because we're streaming, but all the neighbors that go away for the winter, I hope they don't open their garages. No, we had some locations, and the crew was really amazing, you know, just moving the furniture out. And I can tell you that I keep an AED with me because every time Marissa or somebody calls and says, we need another desk, I'm like, these guys are gonna have a heart attack. So, but it's great. They're really great crew.
Yeah, thanks so much.
All right, you got it.
Seth?
All right, thanks for having me. Transportation, as everybody said, went smoothly today, eerily smoothly. We're waiting for the ball to drop, and it never really did. And I have to attribute all that to the extremely hard work of Reggie Warty and Barb Samotalski in the office. They've been tirelessly working with a changing goal line back and forth for weeks now. We've had parents, you know, people decide, yes, we want to, no, we don't. Yes, Tuesday, no, Wednesday, yes, Thursday. So it's been a great challenge, and there's been a lot of, I have to say, a lot of anxiety in the building. But today, when the drivers walked in, and everybody was happy to be back, and everybody was glad to be working, and everybody was thankful to see the children and thankful to be at Canandaigua. And all of a sudden, the calm just fell over the whole department, and everybody had a good time, and everybody did very well. And they came and did what they were here to do, and they had a good time doing it. And you could see it on their faces when they pulled up into the bus loops, and the children were happy. And so I'm at kudos to all of the drivers and to everybody in the department, because we're back and we're happy and we're calm and everything's good.
Wow.
And thanks, Mike. That's all I want to say. Mike, thanks for everything. I mean, you with all your PPE is, you know, essential for us. It's kind of crazy, but you know, all that PPE is nuts. So thanks again.
Thank you, everybody, for those great reports, and a special thank you just for the camaraderie and the collaboration that you all share. I mean, the can-do spirit is really phenomenal, and how much you love what you do and how much you love our students just brings tears to my eyes. So thank you for sharing all of your many gifts and your enthusiasm for Canandaigua. Keep up the good work. And I know it's only day one under your belt. All the more reason to. I hope they can go now, Jamie. Take a few hours tonight to sort of recharge your batteries. Going to be a long week. So take good care of yourselves, and thank you for everything you do.
Bye.
Jamie?
Leave.
Yep.
Yep, I'm here.
Okay. Did you have anything that you wanted to add, or can I move on to the consensus agenda?
Happy to have you move on.
Okay, so we have a consensus agenda and a supplemental noting all of the items that Jamie made amendments to earlier in the meeting. So I'll ask for motions, please. Jen, and a second. Julianne, questions or comments? All in favor? Opposed? That carries unanimously, Deb. And let's see. Michelle, will you report out on audit/finance needs to get fun again?
Yes, I certainly will. Let me start with the fun part. So Mr. Tom Zuber was there, virtually, of course, and presented the year-end financial report to us and reported that we're in excellent financial standing. We did have some extra ending fund balance, but that was expected because of the shutdown and all of the things that we didn't spend money on, and we shouldn't count on that going forward, I think was maybe almost a direct quote from Mr. Zuber. Next up on the not so good news, Matt, who I affectionately call Money Matt, so Matt Fitch, informed the committee that all of the state aid payments we're receiving right now have been reduced by 20%, including district meal reimbursements. So that's not good. And we're hoping that that will change. That could have an impact at the tune of about $5.2 million for us. So Matt is obviously watching this very carefully. Major props to him and Sarah and the other team members who are diligently looking at all of these numbers. We also took a look at tax collection and rates, and Matt had shared previously that our tax rate for the 2021 school year is 18.93 per thousand. This is a little bit of an increase over last year by about 16 cents, but it's below the $19.18 projected tax rate that we had. And the different municipalities, there's this weird equalization thing that happens. So some of the specific municipalities have a slightly different rate, but that works out to be those numbers I reported. And that was, I think, the highlights. Matt, do you have anything else you want to add?
I think you got it, Michelle.
Okay, that's it. So we ended not so fun, but it's a good group. So that part's good.
Really good group. And, everyone is struggling mightily. And, not that I want to say we're in better shape than others relative to some other districts. Our hard work and good luck have really paid off, but it's going to be rough no matter how you slice it. So as always, we have so much trust in Matt and everybody in his department, and that makes a really huge difference for us. So thank you for your leadership there too.
100%.
Thank you, Michelle. We'll move on to district committee reports. Let's see, Jen or Milton, would you like to report out on CIE?
I can start us off. Generally, CIE did the beginning kickoff of the year and welcomed new members. We did some work around summer curriculum writing and recovery plans. Matt shared with the group a SWOT analysis for our different curricular areas, and we broke up into teams to take a look at some of the challenges that we'll need to work through as we begin the year. I thought Matt's SWOT analysis type of format was really, really effective. So effective, I zipped around and looked more at some of the other plans that I didn't get to take a look at during the meeting. And I want to give Matt and the faculty just kudos for putting that excellent information together. It gave a nice picture of where we are as a district and the things that we need to focus on as we move forward. The other thing that was a major agenda item that just made me personally so happy was a presentation by my two favorite Karens, Karen Palomini and Karen Samoltowski, that talked very convincingly about a pilot that CIE approved around FOSS for grade 5 science, around some of the capabilities that FOSS has to support a broad range of learners, and some of the curricular ties that exist within that to actually English and history as well. So they were pretty excited, and by the end of their presentation, all of CIE was pretty excited about this particular pilot. It's hard to say no to either of the two Karens, I have to say. Matt, or Milt, is there anything that you want to add to that?
No, thanks, Shannon. I think you covered it quite well. I'll go into a bit more detail at our next board meeting about what some of that curriculum work looked like and bring up some examples just to give you some more context. So that'll be part of our next educational report at the board meeting on the 29th.
Great. Thank you to both of you.
The only thing I would just add is that, Matt did report out that there was a lot of work done over the summer. And I think, Matt, if I'm correct, your entire budget was exhausted this summer?
Pretty close. I would just say it was reallocated for and repurposed are probably some good words. But yeah, predominantly money that we might try to allocate during the school year was reprioritized in order to give teachers an opportunity to have a leg up to start the school year. Some of the details around that, again, I'll share out at our next meeting. But yes, we got creative and wanted to make sure teachers had some time before they returned in order to have some time to make some changes before students actually got into the building.
Great.
And again, kudos to all the faculty who were working so hard this summer to make sure that they were ready to go day one.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody. Let's see, COVID-19, Jen?
I'll make this one quick. The last meeting this group had, and we'll have one again tomorrow, just was a review over some of the details related to safety as we got ready to reopen. The biggest one of that set was probably some discussion around a couple of choices that we had for cleaning for use by teachers and by our custodial staff. And there were some concerns around safety, which we were able to address. So I think that went very well.
Great. Thank you. Brian, anything you want to add?
Sure. Just in regards to that, we offered a different cleaning product. We really liked the product we had, and the vast majority of the teachers at the primary elementary stayed with our current product, our original product. Most of the teachers at the middle school and well over half of the teachers at the high school stayed with the original product.
Great, thank you. And then Beth, will you report out on if there's a name, your latest project?
So there isn't a name. We have a small group that's getting together on Wednesday to try to brainstorm a bit. So in a conversation with Jamie, I think I probably walked into it nicely, as I often do, and said I was mostly concerned about kids who were doing the hybrid, who didn't really have parent support on the days that they aren't in school. And Jamie said that he had thought about this idea of getting volunteers to do Zoom, call it tutoring, but I think that's probably a little, I'm thinking about something a little looser than tutoring, adults that will volunteer to connect with kids by Zoom. And Rotary had expressed some interest, PTSA had expressed some interest, Kiwanis. So I volunteered and started in my head, there's basically 3 different pathways. I started it from the volunteer perspective because I think we need to get the volunteers. And Tracy Lindsay has been working with me on a Google Doc that then goes into a spreadsheet so I can call volunteers and say, this is what your thing signed up for. Is this going to work for you, kind of thing. We still have a little bit of work to do on vetting the volunteers. But there's basically 3 different avenues. One is that you volunteer to be a mentor to one kid. And that could be just touching in with them, helping with whatever topic, trying to get them some kind of resources that one kid might need. The other is that you think that a person who volunteers says, hey, I think I can probably do elementary school math and I could work with kids for a half an hour a day to go over their math facts. I think I have, maybe Milton says, you know what, I could probably help with some high school English. And he would work specifically with a kid who was struggling with English. And then the other group are the kind of superstars that say, you know what, I feel confident enough, maybe retired chemistry professor or somebody that feels really comfortable in whatever role that, like a biology, a retired physician even, that says, you know what, I would work with a group of kids, a whole group of kids every Tuesday night at 7:00 for a drop-in session about biology or about calculus or whatever, but that they would be willing to take more than one kid at a time at a specific time of the week instead of a specific kid. So Tracy helped come up with a Google Doc that they can, hopefully we're going to put that on the website and then they can sign up for whatever they're interested in. And then at least to start with, I would contact them and kind of see where we're at with that. The other side of it that hasn't been rolled out at all, that we all kind of just think if we build it, they'll come, is the explaining to teachers what this thing is. And Hobart William Smith did, Jeannie help me, a tutoring session that their kids are signing up for to be able to help kids.
College students helping K through 12 students.
Thank you. And the K through 12 kids, if they get, they have to get parent okay to do this. And then if they get teacher recommendations, they actually move up higher on the list. As you can imagine, saying this is going to take a village, I'm pretty sure is going to be an understatement. But we got to start somewhere. And this seemed like a decent place to start. I was thinking today, as with all of this nightmare of building this thing while we're flying, I think we're going to need a few dry runs and a few, guinea pig kind of things. So if either any of you or you've got a neighbor or a parent or a kid in college, I'm actually thinking about tapping into some of my college friends who are, studying education. I'm going to need some guinea pigs to kind of try out the technology and see if it works and try to figure out how to match stuff. So either watch the website or, throw me a text. And when we get close enough, I will send you the documents to say, hey, give it a try, see what you think.
Awesome. Great work. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Jamie, anything else?
Just thanks for everybody's support, one day at a time. One down, 179 to go, right?
All right. I will ask for a motion to adjourn, please. Michelle? Everybody wants to stay. Beth? Great. Thank you very much, everybody. Good night. Keep up the good work and get some rest tonight. Bye-bye.